In this video, I'm going to show you how to figure out what a property is worth. So let's say you have a driving for dollars deal. If someone wants to sell their house, but how do you figure out what it's worth? There's something called multiple listing service, or MLS. That's the database for all properties that have been bought and sold through real estate agents. That's private. If you're not a real estate agent, you can't have access to it. But in this video, I'm going to share with you a way to get free access. Well, at least you will have free access if you're doing driving for dollars. I'm going to show you how to figure out what a property's worth and get access to this private database. In this video, stick with me. I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Hope you enjoy. Welcome to this channel. We talk all things driving for dollars. I'm going to teach you guys how to make an absolute fortune in your real estate business using this strategy. So if you have not subscribed, make sure you do so and hit that bell icon so you do not miss a video that could put tens of thousands of dollars and save tons and tons of money in lost expenses because you don't know some of the tips and strategies that I'm going to be sharing on this channel. Hey everyone, my name is Zack Boothe, and not too many years ago I was a window cleaner and I wasn't really sure how to get into real estate. I didn't know how to do my first deal, or more specifically my first wholesaling deal using driving for dollars. I had so many fears in getting that first deal. One of my biggest fears when I first started was, how do I know what a property is worth? When a seller calls me, how do I know what to offer? How do I know that it's a good deal? I didn't really know. And then what do I say once I know it's a good deal? I felt so afraid of talking to these sellers and not having all of the answers. And it's something that I worked through. And what I'm going to share with you here is going to help you have way more confidence to talk to those sellers. But I want to know from you guys in the comment section, if you've already done your first deal, what was that fear that you had? But if you haven't done your first deal, what's the biggest fear that's kind of holding you back right now? I want to know, and I want to know so I can create content to help you get through those struggles. And remind me of those same fears that I know that I had. We all have these same fears, and those that are being successful now, you'll see that they had fears as well. You're not alone in this. It is a scary process. It is intimidating, but I promise if you stick through it, it is going to be well worth the journey. So let me know below. So my very first wholesale deal, I made $10,000 when I sold the contract. So it was this ugly little house. It was a rental, and the sellers didn't want to deal with it. They were super wealthy gentlemen. There was two business partners that had a falling out. It was the last property of over 100 properties they owned together. And they didn't want to deal with it, and they wanted to sell it. And he said, hey, I'll sell it to you for $80,000. I know that's at a discount, but that's the price I'll pay. And so I was like, okay, well, let me talk to my advisor and see what he says. And I called my coach, Tom. I was like, dude, I got someone who wants to sell their house. What do I do? I had no idea, right? I had no idea what the property was worth. And he said, oh, don't worry about it. Just put it under contract. I don't necessarily agree with that now, but I did, right? I had no idea what the property was worth. I had done the work to find buyers, and I ended up being able to move the property for $10,000 above what I had it under contract for. So I made $10,000. And I had to find a way to figure out what properties were worth. There's certain states that are called non-disclosure states. So like Utah, Florida, and there's more. You can Google, is my state, put the name of your state, disclosure or non-disclosure. What that means is if it's a disclosure state, the sales price, the sales date, a lot of the sales information is public data. It's public information. So free websites like Zillow, Redfin, are going to have very good information on what the property is worth or what it's sold for, right? The valuations in those states are going to be better with these free sites. Places like Utah and Florida, they're non-disclosure, so it's not public data. So the only place to figure out what other similar properties have sold for, how long it took to sell, what they were listed for, what they sold for, all the active and inactive listings, the expired listings, all that information is held as a monopoly and owned by the multiple listing services. It's managed by brokers and real estate agent, the division of real estate. And so if you want to figure out what a property is worth, let's say you have a seller that wants to sell, well, what do? You have to figure out what it's worth. So you can go become a real estate agent, get MLS access. You can do what I did and became an assistant, found an investor-friendly broker who I am an assistant to, and I pay my brokerage fee or my fees for MLS access, and I have access that way. But it's a pain in the butt, takes forever. There is now a new way, a tool. If you're doing driving for dollars already, there is an addition, there is a new update to the DealMachine app. The DealMachine app is a driving for dollars app. It's the app that I talk about a lot on this channel. It's the app that I use to find deeply discounted properties. We drive through the neighborhoods that we want to find discounted opportunities. We find physical signs of neglect. The app is kind of like a Google Maps image. You touch the house that you want to add to your marketing list, and then you can reach out and see if they want to sell. The newest update is exactly what I've been talking about, is being able to get MLS access regardless if you're in a disclosure or a non-disclosure state. This is a new add-on that comes free with your subscription, right? So you're not paying any extra to have this MLS access. So now you're going to be able to have a lot more confidence when you're talking to sellers on what their property is actually worth fixed up and where you need to start from. Like, what's your starting point for negotiation? So I hope this helps you. We're going to dive in and show you exactly how this works. I met with Matt and he shared his screen and showed exactly how to do it, because I didn't quite know how to do it yet because this is such a new update. If you guys are finding value so far and appreciate that I put together this content, make sure you hit that like button for me so it'll help other people know about this new update to the DealMachine app to help them with their businesses as well. Matt, thank you so much for showing me how to use tech, man.
That's my job. Yeah, excited to jump on. I always have a great time doing this with you, Zach. So thanks for having me on again.
For sure. So I'm excited about this new updated DealMachine. Just kind of a background. DealMachine has been a huge part of what I've done with driving for dollars. I had like a $40,000 deposit with a app developing company when the founders of DealMachine approached me in an event that I spoke at in 2018 and said, hey, we have this app. We'd like you to promote us and tell people to use it, and we want you to use it. And I said, well, I will, but you have to make some of these changes because it's not efficient. And DealMachine has gone above and beyond any expectations that I ever had since then. And it's the app we use, and we use it not because they pay me to say use DealMachine. Of course they're fair there, but they make me a lot of money in my wholesaling business. So one of the new updates that I'm very excited about is being able to comp properties. So Matt's going to give us a quick tutorial on how to use DealMachine to figure out what a property's worth. So let's say you have a property that someone wants to sell. You don't know what it's worth fixed up. Let's say you live in a place that's called a non-disclosure state. So you don't have free data on what properties have sold for where you live through like free websites like Zillow or Redfin or some of these other free websites. So something like this is important. I've taught my students and I've taught how to get MLS access, even though you're not a real estate agent, doing it legally, of course. And, but this cuts out such a barrier, right? Huge barrier. So Matt's going to give us a tutorial on how to use that new update on DealMachine. And honestly, I don't even know how to use it yet myself. So I'm really excited to learn how to do this and push it onto you guys. So it's cool.
Yeah. Super excited to be able to show off all this new stuff. And I know it's funny, like you talking about the story of behind DealMachine and like working with us for the first time and all of that. I mean, you're essentially part of the team, Zach. Like you're truly an extension of our product team where you're.
I paid him to tell you guys that.
I mean, like you've given so much good insight of like, you're the premier guy on driving for dollars. So you're showing like, here's what the best people are doing. Here's how to get out there. Here's how to do things like on the go, how I would use comping and things like that. Like your feedback has been phenomenal over the years. So want to say appreciate you. And, I'm always excited to show off the new stuff, but I also understand like historically how we've worked together and how much that's meant to us too. So,
well, cool. Well, let's see it, brother. Let's see how it works.
Let me show this off here. And let me share my screen for everybody. Zach, let me know if you can see this here.
I can see it. Yep, for
awesome.
Sure.
Cool. So what I'll start with here, just to begin with, I mean, I know you kind of touched on it there from an MLS standpoint, how big of a deal that is, from a MLS in general. Like we've come in and been able to help people have access to everything from, sold data to expired listing data. Any state in the US, there's over 10, 12 or so non-disclosure states currently that we're able to give you data for that. We've got over 700 plus data points on the MLS and over 65 filters. So you can tap into all of those things there, in a variety of spots in the DealMachine app, but the comps tool is one of the most powerful places to do that. So,
so I want to kind of explain some terminology
yeah.
here, because I think I made a mistake here by using a lot of real estate lingo. And for those that are very new to real estate, they may not understand some of these things. I remember I definitely did not, 100% did not know any of the words we use today. So where MLS stands for multiple listing services. It is basically the database for real estate agents. So when anyone sells their house through a traditional real estate agent, all of that information of the sale, how much it sold for, how many days it stayed on market, where they were listed, how many price drops, everything that happened with that property, right? All the contingencies on the offer, meaning like, did the seller pay closing costs or did the buyer? So all this information is relevant, because if you go to sell a similar house to that one, you know what previous houses have sold for, that square footage, that many bedrooms and bathrooms in that area, how long it took to sell them, what did they sell for, how nice were they, see the pictures. So you're going to be able to get an idea of what stuff has been selling for, so you can get a good idea of what yours will sell for. So when we say pulling comps through the MLS, we mean we want to see all the properties that have sold close, and what is this one essentially going to be worth as well. And we said non-disclosure and disclosure states. So some states, all this data is free and it's really easy to get on Zillow, and this won't be as beneficial to you. But those people that are in non-disclosure states, like I'm in a non-disclosure state in Utah, and I did the 40-day challenge in a non-disclosure state, and it was really, really hard to figure out what properties were worth. I was just making my best guess, and that's not always the best way to do things. And so this right here is MLS access. It's this private data that is usually only available to real estate agents, licensed agents, or people that work as assistants to brokers like I do to get MLS access. And so this is going to allow you to see this like hidden data that's going to make your guys' job easier. So
yeah,
go ahead.
Beautifully summed up. There we go. I know from that standpoint too. I mean, we've had a comping tool or a comp tool a little bit here, but it's been tapped into county data in the past as well, and MLS data. The advantage with that too is that it's going to be the most accurate, the most updated, the most recent. It's what the agents are reporting on. So especially in markets where things are moving quickly, it's extremely valuable to stay up to date, and that can make or break you buying at the right price, or you buying at being able to buy it at a good deal. I think a pretty big game changer for us to be able to have that data and give everyone access to that data. So,
perfect.
Yeah, just one thing to mention as well from a comps perspective, like, yeah, I'm going to be showing it to you here on our web app. This is just the app.dealmachine.com. And if you go to dealmachine.com, you can get access to it there. We're also built for mobile first too. Like, we're built very, very mobile friendly, since we know investors are out anytime, anywhere, especially if they're doing driving for dollars, they're on the go like that. So a lot of what I show off today is exactly what you see in mobile too. But
perfect.
To kind of start off with, so say I jump in here, say added any lead, you see all these black dots popping up. All those are different properties around you that you can quickly click into, see information around that particular property, see everything around assessed value and equity and things like that. If you've got a blue dot here, you can see like, hey, there's some MLS data, included. And if the blue dot right there means that there was an active MLS listing on that particular property. So that's going to give you a little bit more information here. See, this is recently sold in December 2021. Give you the sale price, gives you everything around, the agent name, all of that. So you'll see it on the map here. Wow. When you click into that lead, so say I add that lead, just for the sake of this particular property, that'll automatically go into your leads tab right here, and this is your running list of potentially motivated sellers. So if you're getting out there,
so let's say one person calls and says, I do want to sell, right? So let's say this top one, right, on Patsy Drive.
Yep. Clicking now.
So let's say that person wants to sell. How do we comp it? How do we find properties that are similar year, similar square footage, bedrooms and baths, and how do we see the other properties?
Yep. So you've got all the info right here from just a pure data perspective. This comps tab right here is where you can click on and jumps into the comps tool. I'll expand on this right here, top right corner. So again, this is what it'll look like on mobile as well. But this is, when you jump into this, our whole goal is to give you the most accurate, comps as possible, make it fun, simple, easy to use, and make it so that, your each individual city, your block by block might be a little bit different in terms of, the particular comps and being able to see the value of each property. So we want to make it really pinpoint, really exact to be able to come in here and use the drawing tool, or you can simply click around. You've got, here you go. You've got your pinpointed property right here. You've got everything else popping up that, around it that fits your particular filter criteria. And you can hit.
And where's your filter criteria?
Yep. So filter criteria is upper left right here. Click on that. Perfect. And you can come into it. And like you said, Zach, you can say, hey, show me the default is the last 6 months. You can adjust the square footage, min max. You can adjust your build, bedroom, bathroom, range, be able to adjust all that stuff. You can toggle county records or MLS here, but MLS is like as I mentioned, the most accurate, up-to-date info. And as you go through all of that, you'll be able to really quickly, easily, here, let me start that drawing again for you. Click into here, show you everything nearby, and zoom in and be able to adjust that on the go. So this is gonna oh, go ahead, Zach.
I said nice. No, I'm excited.
Yeah, it's super, super slick. Incredibly powerful to be able to dynamically do this too, because you can jump in and just go up and down and say, hey, yeah, this one's a little bit of an outlier.
And frankly, that's 1,000 times easier. Let's say you get MLS access. If you've never gotten the MLS, dude, the filters and at least the MLS here in Utah, everyone's a little different, but dude, they're a nightmare.
Yeah, it's not easy to use.
That's 10 times easier. That's 10 times easier to filter stuff out, right? Year built, can you comp land? Can you have that as a criteria point? Land, multifamily, condo, townhome. Can you choose the type of property?
Yeah, if you go in here, really from a filter perspective, square, all these are going to be the easiest things to be able to adjust on the go. But you can even go in and change your default as well. But yeah, in terms of the type of property, you can mess with, filters around that. You can come in here and, the big thing is that dynamically it's super easy to use, because you're going to be able to click in and out of each individual property. And as you do that, you'll see this average dollars per square foot get adjusted as you go. So you'll see.
Yeah. Can you click on one of those comps so you can see property? Because one of the big things we're trying to find is what's a property worth fixed up.
Yep.
Right? Maybe one sold for 200, but it was really, really bad, but they're selling for 270 fixed up. We want to find the nicest of the nice ones so we can go, okay, after repair value, figure out where we need to be to get it to that, right?
Yeah, we actually, so 2 big updates that are about to drop for us here as well. I think within this sprint, so within the next 2 weeks, you'll see days on market, and then you'll see pictures. So you'll see pictures of that individual property and be able to compare that way of like, hey, is this fixed up? Is what's the condition of the property? And then days on market is just something that is a really powerful data point to be able to use and say like,
yeah, because then you know how much interest you're going to cure, how long you're going to hold a property if you're flipping, or if you're passing it as a wholesale deal to a flipper, that's going to affect it.
Exactly, right? Man. Yeah. So you'll be able to use that and be able to use that as a way to be able to show like.
And you said that update's coming in 2 weeks?
Yep. So
there you have it. So if you guys are watching this video, it's probably already
there. Highly likely. So So really, again, with this, I know you're using Driving for Dollars. You're using that to get in the room. You're using that to be able to create the list and reach out to people and have that conversation. Like now that you're in the room, we want to empower you with numbers and make it so that, you're never scared to talk about price with the seller again, or, you're feeling confident, especially as a newbie, by using data to show the seller what their house is actually worth. And it can help you on the front end with the seller, like help you negotiate and help you say, hey, here's the ARV, and work backwards from there and really be confident in that process. And even can help you on the back end with the cash buyer as well, and show like, hey, here's what it's worth, all fixed up, and the condition of that particular property. So yeah.
So one thing is going to happen from you guys watching this is you're going to be like, okay, now we know how to figure out what it's worth fixed up, or now we know how to look at a property and see the value. Well, how do we know how to negotiate to get it? And what should we negotiate it at? What number do we need to be at to make money? There's going to be lots more questions. And that's the fun part of learning. The more you learn, the more you realize how much you have to learn. If you have questions, make sure you comment below with those questions. I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah. Absolutely. So all that's live, like you mentioned. The pictures and the days on market piece will be live here any day now. And yeah,
Beautiful.
try to make it just simple, easy for people to use, whether they're on the go, whether they're on desktop. But the goal is to give everyone the power of real estate investing. So
Beautiful. Thanks so much, Matt. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us.
thanks.
So in summary, if you do not have the DealMachine app, as I've mentioned before, you can use the discount code PIN, PIN, to get a free trial, to try it out, right? Yes, I do get paid if you keep it, and if you continue to use it and go past the free subscription. But I'm not telling you this to try and make money off you. It's really what I use. It's what I use in my own business. It's such an awesome tool to really make driving for dollars more efficient. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Use that discount code, right? It's very easy. You're going to be able to pull up the property right there that you've already added to your driving for dollars list. If they want to sell, you can click on that property, draw a radius or put a distance outside of there, and put the criteria that you want to add your properties. Really cool tool. I hope you guys use it. I hope you guys enjoy it, and it puts a ton of money in your pocket. If you guys would like me to coach you further, if you'd like to have direct access to me, my cell phone, if you want to have my steps to do your first deal, everything from how to find the sellers, how to do the marketing, how to talk to the sellers, how to find the buyers, how to do your first deal, even though you have no experience, I'd love to serve you and help you. So if you go to the show notes, there's a link to be able to book a call and talk to us about the program. There's no obligation, there's no cost to jump on the phone and learn more. We'd be happy to talk to you. And then also, if you guys want to see in action what I teach, I turned $1,000 into $93,000 in just 40 days. And I didn't do it where I live. I flew to somewhere I'd never even been. I flew across the country, right? To make it even harder for myself to get rid of my connections. If you want to see that, you can go to this link right here. It's free content. Enjoy. Anyways, talk to you guys soon. Thanks.